Hey, how you guys doing? Good afternoon, good evening. And this is
Hi,
KLA, Cloud the Wanderer. I'm here with my friend Megan Price. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm still riding the high from my OCB Pro card win about two and a
Okay.
half weeks ago, so things are
Wow,
very
that's
good.
wow. So that's your first your first competition you did?
So this is my first season bodybuilding, and I won my pro card at my second competition ever.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's cool. How
Yes,
do you feel? Feel kind of like you feel real motivated to do another one?
absolutely. Not anytime in the near future, I would say, but I am very motivated now that I'm in the pro leagues and all my competition are other professionals. It really lights a fire for me to continue to work hard and to make improvements and to bring an even better package to the pro stage.
Okay. What got you started doing bodybuilding? If I could ask you that question.
Of course. Well, I've always been an athlete my whole life. I ran track in high school and I ran track in college. I was a collegiate track athlete at Colorado School of Mines in Golden, Colorado, which is where I grew up in Colorado for my whole life. And when my collegiate career was over, I really needed an outlet to transition into um, a different sport, if you will, a different way to channel that competitive spirit within me, and a different place where I can still continue to be an athlete and exercise. And that was still very much a part of my life growing up. And so I went to the gym casually with my husband, especially during COVID. We got married during COVID. So that was around the time that I started casually weightlifting, getting in the gym. Still not quite sure what I was doing exactly, but I just enjoyed being there and lifting weights. And given that I'm from Colorado, I'm a huge skier, and so I happen to be following someone on Instagram. Her name is Elise, and she is a competitive skier and a bodybuilder, and she was taking on clients at the time. And so I had reached out and she accepted me as a client. And really, at that time, my goals were to gain a better knowledge of nutrition and how to fuel my body properly. Um, and also, I really wanted to squat 225 pounds. That was a personal goal at the time, and really establish a solid routine in the gym and really learn how to lift weights to put on muscle. So I worked with her for 6 months, and this was around 2021 to 2022 when I was doing this with her. And in that 6 months, I experienced an incredible transformation, physically and mentally, of course. And it really became addicting to see the changes week over week. And when I completed my time with her, that really fueled my fire to continue going um, down the route that I was going on. And I hadn't necessarily been thinking about competing in a bodybuilding competition at that point in time. I was just still very interested in working with a coach to build muscle on my frame and really um, have the guidance from somebody to help me with that aspect. So um, I remember asking her when we finished working together, I asked her, "Do you think I have what it takes to be a bodybuilder? I'm very casually thinking about it." And still to this day, her words um, were the encouragement that I needed to get to this point in time. And she told me, "Yes, I do think you have what it takes to be a bodybuilder." And so that stuck with me um, throughout my entire journey. And to this day, I credit her for getting me into bodybuilding and introducing me to bodybuilding. So shout out to Elise for all of her guidance and all of her encouragement, and it really means a lot to me. So at that point, I moved to Georgia, which is where I currently reside. And I found my next coach on Instagram as well, Casey with Complete Coaching, and that's who I currently work with um, at this point in time. And we've been working together for a little over 2 years now. And when I started working with her, I also told her, I'm not really interested in competing, but I really want to build muscle. And I really just love being in the gym. I love lifting weights, but I also need to learn more about nutrition. And that's when I learned how to start tracking my macros. I had never really known what any of that was prior to working with her. So she really educated me on the nutrition aspect and really how to build a proper plate, um, fiber, all your micronutrients as well as the macronutrients aspect. So once I got that um, more under more in check, and we started working together. Um, she is an IFBB bikini pro, so being under her tutelage, I was able to kind of look at her Instagram, look at other people's Instagrams that she was following, and really become a fan of the sport before even competing in the first place. So she really introduced me to the ins and outs of bodybuilding through following her. And about this time last year was when I had reached out to her saying, "Hey, I'm interested in competing. And what do you think about that?" And you know what she said? She said, "I think you can do it. And let's work together to put a timeline out on the table to see when would be the perfect time for you to do that." And it just so happened that I was bulking all of last year. So we were building up my calories and we were really just building out my musculature on my frame as a whole because that is what I wanted to do in the first place. But it just so happened that that was the perfect transition for me to begin a prep for a competition. So we started building for figure, is what we called it, Operation Build for Figure. And we started that in November of last year. And I began my prep this year in February. And I stepped on stage for the first time in August here in Atlanta at the OCB Divine Muscle. And I want to talk about also why I chose the figure division in the first place, because as most people know, women tend to start off in the bikini division. That's just the most popular. And there's a lot of coaches that are, that they have fine-tuned their skills to coach women for bikini. But as I said, last year we were bulking and growing in the gym. And so when we evaluated my physique, we had seen that my lats and my back muscles were growing quite significantly, and my frame is better suited for figure. And I was really also attracted to the physiques within the figure division. I thought they're really beautiful, very symmetrical. And of course, I look up to Sid Gillen. She is the picturesque, she is the picture of figure. And so I was really attracted to that division, and that's why I selected it. But, it was twofold. I really was interested in figure, but it just so happened that luckily my frame and my build is very much suited for the division.
Do you want to remain in the OCB or would you go to the MPC, move to the MPC for out of curiosity?
That is an interesting question. I will say what attracted me to compete in the OCB in the first place is because it is all natural. And because I grew up in Colorado, I also live a very natural, holistic lifestyle. And OCB was the perfect fit for me to align with my principles. And I might be interested in competing in a natural NPC show. And I've seen
Okay.
online that those have gained a lot of popularity recently in the last couple years, I want to say. And I know there was one in Atlanta just a week after my first OCB show where they did the Atlanta all natural NPC show. So that is one thing that if I were to switch to the NPC, I still think I would compete in the tested shows. Just because it's important to me that everyone's on a level playing field. When we all step on stage together, everybody knows that you've been tested and that you're competing as a natural bodybuilder.
Yeah. So somebody told me that they had a natural um competition in PC. Yeah. Um,
Yes. And
yeah.
I think they're starting to um, roll out more of those natural shows within the NPC because they know that people are interested. And um, kudos to them for doing that. That's amazing that they're giving natural bodybuilders more opportunities to compete in tested shows. So that's very exciting to see.
So you do like holistic, um, like are you like a vegan or like you do yoga or something like that?
Well, when I lived in Colorado, I definitely took advantage of everything that it had to offer in terms of being out in nature. I loved hiking and skiing and kayaking out on the water. And yes, I actually had a neighbor that was a yoga instructor. So I went to a lot of her classes and I love tubing. So in the city where my college is located, there's a creek that runs right down the middle. And I actually did this when I went to my Colorado OCB show a couple weeks ago. But everyone brings tubes in their car, and you walk to the top of the creek, and you get in your tube and you float all the way down. And it's just the perfect thing to do on a hot summer day. So I have very fond memories of doing that with my family. Um, and to touch on the nutrition aspect, I'm not necessarily a vegan or a vegetarian, but I do try and be very mindful of the products that I purchase and the ingredients. And I don't do dairy, but that's about it in terms of any restrictions for my diet. But um, I try and eat whole natural foods, and that's what I find um, really fuels me the best.
What was like your toughest part of your of getting ready for your competition? Your first competition. I'm sorry. I gotta
Yes,
be
my first
specific.
competition. Yes.
Yeah.
So I would say the most difficult part was sometimes it was the cardio. I would say most of the time it was the cardio because um, I really didn't do a lot of cardio when I was working with my coach, just because we were in a building phase, trying to, I was eating in a calorie surplus. I was trying to put on a lot of muscle. So we weren't necessarily doing a lot of high intense cardio. And I would say it would switch off between the cardio just being a bit strenuous for me, um, but also some days where I just had really low energy. but you still have to juggle all of life's, different responsibilities because life just doesn't stop when you're in prep. You can't put other things off to the side without them suffering, of course. But, I still had to uh, maintain, my household. I still have relationships, a marriage to pour into. I still have a job and a profession that I need to, be present for and give my best effort towards. And also meal prep all my food, go to the gym to do my training, go to the gym a second time most often to do my cardio. Um, make sure that I'm giving my friends and my family um, the love and support that they also need during the time that I was in prep. And funny enough, we also moved. We moved during my prep. So my husband and I bought our very first house a couple months ago. So I would say juggling all of that, juggling life's responsibilities on top of prep was definitely the most difficult aspect just because that was a new situation for me. This is our very first house, and we were renovating it ourselves, partially. So, a lot of really hard, strenuous manual labor that went into that while I was tired on low food and low energy during prep. And that was certainly a struggle at times, but my goodness, the reward was definitely worth it. And it's really fulfilling to look back on the 6 months that I was in prep and say, well, every single day I worked as best as I could. I gave my best effort in most every aspect of my life, and it got me to the point where I won my pro card. And that was, of course, a very lofty goal of mine that I set for myself when I realized that I was going to be competing this year, and I knew the rules and the regulations around OCB shows where if there's a minimum of 5 competitors within your division, then you would be awarded a pro card if you were to win that division. And so I placed second in the open figure division at the Divine Muscle Show, which was my first show. And so it was so close I could taste it. That second place really fueled me to continue for that second show. And when I did win the second show, all of those emotions came flooding in, just recognizing all the hard work that I put in and all the support from my friends and family that got me there. And I definitely was celebrating that victory.
So you taking a break from from competing? I thought I heard you correctly. I don't know
Yes.
if I misunderstood. Oh, okay.
Y-
It's a
yes.
lot, right? You,
You are, yes, it is a lot. I would say, um, so what's wonderful is that I actually received feedback from the judges from both of my shows already.
yeah,
So we're able to implement the feedback right away, which was that I need to put on size overall um, on my physique and just take some time off to grow and grow some more muscle. Um,
okay,
so that prompted us to jump right into the off season rather than try and stay in prep and continue for a pro debut because and I appreciate this from my coach, and her rationale is that when I do step on stage again for my pro debut, um, she wants me to look undeniable. And of course, um, I'm very, very proud of the package that I brought to my first 2 shows, but I know that there is more room for growth within my physique. And I'm just so excited to see how I can improve um, from now until my pro debut show, which is just so surreal to say. So, Um, I love these pictures. I'm so proud of these pictures.
How
And
tall are
I'm very tall. I'm 5'9". So
you?
there's definitely more opportunity to put more muscle on my frame, given that I am a very tall woman, comparatively.
Yeah,
So,
because you're a
um,
figure, so I know
yes,
you're tall and lean.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
So
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, um, what impressed me quite a bit, was the fact that at my peak bulk weight in the middle of last year, I was 170 pounds. And on show day, I was 132 pounds at 5'9". And I was able to get down to around 9.9% body fat. I did a scan a couple days before my first show, and seeing that I was sub 10% body fat, I was like, oh my goodness, I don't think I've never been that lean in my entire life. I don't think I've been in the 130 range since I was a small freshman in high school. But of course, now I have a lot more muscle, and that was very impressive to see. And really, it's just a testament to my coach's philosophy and the program that I've been running with her. And I've definitely trusted the process. So for 22 months, that's how long it took from the time that I began working with my coach Casey until I stepped on stage for the first time. And in those 22 months, we we were eating in a I was eating in a calorie surplus. I was building up my muscle. And then when we decided that I wanted to compete, then we did a small pre-prep mini cut just to shed about 10 pounds to put me in a better position to begin my prep in February. And the rest is history.
What would you say what's like the difference between you as a collegiate level runner, track and field athlete to a bodybuilder?
I would say that as a collegiate runner, I was juggling many hats, especially at Colorado School of Mines. It is a STEM school, so I majored in biochemistry, which was very difficult. But I would say, I was wearing my student hat during the day. And so I would focus primarily on um, my classes and my studies and finishing my homework and making sure that I was getting good grades in the classroom. And then when the afternoon rolled around and I had to go to track practice, then I'd take that hat off, put on my collegiate track athlete hat, and give it my all at practice and at the meets on the weekends. And then, I was in a relationship with my now husband. So then I'd, put that hat on to be a good girlfriend and, a daughter. So I was juggling many hats. And so then what I'm trying to allude to is that I could switch on and off that college track athlete identity. Um, but what I've noticed is as a bodybuilder, you have to be on all the time. There's never really a period where you can neglect it or turn it off. Um, and that's because, you have to always think about your meals. You have to think about your water intake, your training, everything. All those little things really do compound to make big differences in your day-to-day improvements as a bodybuilder. And so, even from the supplements I take to the different foods that I consume, everything makes a difference. And so I would say that's the biggest comparison is, you can switch on and off that collegiate track identity, but at least for me, I'm on all the time as a bodybuilder. I'm always thinking about, is this, how is this going to um, help or hinder me as a bodybuilder?
Yeah, it's a different world. Like for
Yes.
me, I'm like an average guy, you know. I worked out at times, but I never did bodybuilding. I seen it on TV. I went to I went to two shows this year. I went One of them was in OCB like couple of wait, this is last month, August, early
Hmm.
August, and the other one I went to the New York Pro. Yeah, it was an experience with the OCB. You know, I know. Well, I'm in Brooklyn,
Okay.
and you know, I went to like a campus, and they had this show like in this auditorium and stuff. I could show
Yes.
you some pictures real quick, and you know, this is what they was. You know, like these were like physique competitors. You
They
know,
look wonderful.
yeah, yeah. This is the figure. You see
Oh,
the young
wonderful.
lady on my left
Yes,
that
in the blue suit.
right, she won.
Yes.
She won, I
Okay,
think she won.
fabulous.
Yeah,
She
she
looks
won.
great.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, yes,
yeah.
there they are.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
So
very similar to the venues for the two OCB shows that I competed in.
yeah,
They were both theaters, like performing arts centers. And the
right.
venues were fabulous. So I really had a great time at the shows and I met so many amazing women. And that's the biggest takeaway that I would say of anybody that's interested in competing or if they're nervous. Um, what really makes it worth it is the relationships that you build with fellow competitors and their coaches, you know, because a lot of coaches come to support their athletes and they're backstage helping them pump up, giving them motivational speeches. And everybody is just so warm and welcoming, and everyone's there to have fun at the end of the day. And that's what I really appreciate because you put so much pressure on yourself, knowing that you've spent how many months, you know, 4, 5, 6 months working day in and day out for that one moment, that one, 5 minute stretch that you're on stage, and everything leads up to that. Um, so that could be really, that could really weigh you down mentally if you put all that pressure on yourself to think, I have to be perfect, everything I've done leads up to this moment and I can't mess up. You could almost psych yourself out by doing that. But what really helped was just seeing all the smiling faces backstage and everyone's laughing. And, I was able to strike up conversation with several other ladies and even some of them that I have already followed on Instagram. I saw them in person. I said, hey, I follow you on Instagram and I love seeing your content. Everyone is everyone's so nice and supportive of one another. And I really appreciate that within the OCB, and they promote that. Um, and I'm really looking forward to that aspect as well within the pro leagues because I know it's just going to be that much better, um, knowing that everybody is there as a professional and um, they've worked very, very hard and very, very long to get to that point, and they're all there to encourage one another.
Yeah. Well, we got somebody in here in the house, all the way George Page. Hey, folks, how you doing, George?
Hello.
And he says, "Hello, Megan. You are beautiful."
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Like how do your husband feel? With you dealing with the prep and all that stuff, with changes that he had
It
to like
was
stay away from you, or
I think it definitely took some warming up from my family
uh,
to understand the appeal of wanting to step on stage scantily
yeah,
clad in a sparkly bikini just because I've always tended to be a more modest, quiet, introverted person. And so this is definitely the most extroverted, um, put yourself out there type of thing that I've ever done in my whole life. And so they're like, this is kind of new for you. And they were eager to see, uh, what it would look like for me to be on stage like that. And what's funny is after my very first show, when my family was there, and I walked back into the auditorium to say hi to them, they were like, they were so shocked because of how tan I looked, because underneath the stage lights, and you're compared next to everybody, your tan doesn't really look that out of the ordinary. But then when I went and walked up next to them, they're like, "Oh my goodness, I didn't realize how tan you actually were." And we were all out at dinner afterwards celebrating. And then I look back at the pictures of me with my family at dinner, and it's very, very glaringly obvious how tan I am compared to them. So it was a learning experience for them just as much as it was for myself about all the preparation that just goes into show day. And I also had never attended a show as a spectator. So the very first show that I ever went to was the one that I competed in Atlanta.
Oh,
So I also learned how backstage worked and kind of how hectic it is backstage. But that really set me up in order to have a very successful show day for my second show. Because what was really outstanding was that my coach Casey flew down to Atlanta to be at my first show. But
mm,
she had another show on the books when I won my pro card in Colorado 2 weeks later. So I went to my Colorado show by myself. And so didn't have my coach there to kind of walk me through what I needed to do. But what was nice is that I had her there for that first show.
yeah.
And I had never met her in person prior to her being at my show. So I'd worked with her for 2 years, and I had just met her in person just last month. So that was also very exciting. Um, and she was also explaining to my friends and my family about kind of the niche that is bodybuilding. And I think once everybody went to my show as a spectator and they watched just how electric it can be, um, they really warmed up to the idea of me being a bodybuilder. And of course, when I won my pro card, everybody was so happy and so proud of me. And so now they know I'm in it for the long haul because I won my pro card, and I would like to compete as a pro now. So um, they just need to get used to me wearing my sparkly bikini.
When you was competing, how many people were like in the audience?
Oh my goodness, a lot of people. And what's kind of funny, I didn't necessarily black out when I was on stage, but the stage lights were shining on us such that it was only really I was only really able to see the judges table at the very front. And so I tried looking out in the audience. Of course, I could hear my family cheering for me, but I couldn't really locate them in the audience very well because of the stage lights. But uh, from what they were saying, the for my first show in Atlanta, the auditorium was probably half full, which was a pretty big crowd. And what's even more amazing is for my second show in Colorado, they had three different sections of this show. The first morning section was the pro show because this was a pro-am OCB event. So they had all the spectators for the pro show, and then they began the men's section and then the women's section of the amateur show. And so they had so many people purchasing tickets that they had to clear out the auditorium in between each section. So they had that many people that were interested in spectating the event, which is amazing to know that. And I was also able to get a better visual in my second show of the audience. I think it was just the way that the venue was set up. And the seats were much higher, so I could see everybody a lot clearer than I could in the first show. So, and I did notice that the auditorium was completely full for the second show. But luckily, it didn't really affect me or my nerves too much. I was quite surprised at how confident I felt on stage. I didn't clam up or forget my posing routine. So I impressed myself with that.
Yeah, that's I would say that's impressive. Like when you was like when you would like do when I'm sorry when you was doing track and field, like was there like a lot of audience watching you in like in the stadium or anything like that
So
compared to bodybuilding?
I I would say that so in Colorado, at least there's an indoor track season and an outdoor track season. And so
Right.
my school hosted the majority of the indoor track and field events. And the crowd was much bigger at the indoor events just because the venue was a lot smaller and more compact. So everybody was filling in on the infield to watch all the races. And so you could really hear everybody screaming and cheering as you ran by. And as I compare my experiences, I feel like I was a lot more nervous in my track career before each race than I was going out on stage for my two shows. And I think that's just because I didn't know how to cope with the pressure as well as I do now. And I think I've learned better skills on how to, breathe through the nerves and you know, the different mantras that I say to myself and the different words of encouragement that I do to, psych myself up. But um and the Colorado High School Championships, that was by far the biggest crowd that I've ever run under. So um, the nerves were definitely high, especially because the state championships are the pinnacle of your track career. And you have state championships on the line. And you want to make your team proud. Of course, you want to
Yeah.
make yourself proud, but you're really running for that team medal. And so that crowd was huge. And I also was fortunate enough to go two times to the Oregon relays in high school. So that's a high school event, but it was hosted at the University of Oregon.
Mm.
Um, so, and of course, that's the most famous track school in the whole country. That's the most prestigious school that you can run at. And so we were able to run at Hayward Field. That's the track. uh, and they had the Olympic trials there too. So
Oh,
um, I would say that crowd at the Oregon relays, that was huge because that was a national track event, track meet. So kids in schools from every state in the whole country were there to compete. And so, um, and I remember getting getting a bit nervous for the 4x4 relay. That's the very last event of the whole meet. And so everything leads up to that, and everyone is out there cheering under the lights when it's pitch black outside, and you're just trying to run as fast as you can. Uh, and I remember being very, very nervous.
of course. It's a lot of people. I'll be nervous
Yes.
too. Like I never like just like performing in front of people. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's yeah. Um all the way George Page. He has a question. How does it feel
It'll be
to
good.
be a OCB pro?
It feels fabulous, wonderful, spectacular. It feels like all the work that I've put in over these last couple years since deciding to compete up until this point. Um, it really makes it all worth it. All the hard days, all those hard cardio sessions, all those times where I was just feeling really hungry, really low energy, didn't, I just wanted to throw everything out the window, but I knew that I wanted to be a pro, and that was my goal. And to know that I accomplished that within my first season, let alone my second show ever, is just incredible to know that. And um, I told my coach, I said, I have my work cut out for me now. Now that I'm in the pro leagues and my competition is all professionals now, you know, I want to be that high caliber professional bodybuilder as well. And I want to, go neck and neck with them, um, and be a top professional within the OCB. And so, we know what we need to do and we know what we need to work on now. So, um, I'm trying not to rest on my laurels too much, but I definitely was, soaking it all in and celebrating with my family. And of course, the award that I got from winning my show was so, so cool. I got a samurai sword. That's what the OCB Colorado show handed out. And I think it's in one of my pictures that I posted, but they had
Yeah,
everybody
I got it.
hold their
Got it. I got it.
swords up.
Let me see if that's it.
Yes,
Yeah,
there it
that's right here.
is.
Yep.
So, and the medals that I've received from both of my shows are so cool, and I have them displayed up in my office here. And I'm waiting on a display for my sword, but uh, all when I won, everyone was checking out my sword, like, is this real? And indeed it is real. They had us sign a release form that that it's a real sword, so that's funny too. But um, every time I look at that, and every time I walk past my metal display case every day when I wake up, and I go look at it, and I think to myself, I can't believe that I accomplished that, and it really brings that sense of pride and accomplishment full circle.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you feel great about that,
Yeah,
cause
thank you.
like, yeah, cause bodybuilding, it's not a lucrative sport, and some people, like, especially the pros, they don't get that much money.
Right, exactly.
They probably get, like, I know the men probably get more than the women. They'll probably get, what, $100,000 or $10,000, something like that. And the
Hmm.
women, they get like maybe 1,000, probably 5,000 or something like that. Yeah. Like,
There's
how do
definitely
you feel? Now I was about to ask, like, how do you feel about that? Like, like, do you experience, like, other, like, athletes that go through that hardship or anything like that? Like, they're not, they don't have no sponsorship or something like that.
Well, I, for one, don't have any sponsorships either. So, really, what got me into the sport was just my love of being in the gym and wanting to challenge myself and push myself to do something that I've never done before, and knowing how difficult prep is, and competing in bodybuilding. And I really wanted to put myself to the challenge. And so I was never really in it for the money or the status or the fame of it. Of course, if that comes along with, my status of being an OCB pro, then I gladly welcome that. That would be incredible. But what I have noticed with the OCB is that they do award men's and women's payouts equally, and they really tout themselves um, as a federation that really wants to be um, pushing equality in that regard. And so I really appreciate that aspect, because I do know, at least in the IFBB, I think is what you're referring to, is that the payouts are unequal between men and women. But another really big appeal to the OCB is the fact that they pay out men's and women's pro awards equally.
Okay.
And so,
Yeah,
and that's a really respectable thing for them to do.
yeah. I'm just still learning. You gotta bear with me because I'm still learning about the OCB.
Of
You know,
course.
sometimes my mind it just kind of focus on IFBB because you know I
Yes.
have like friends, you know, like all the way George Page, and you know he tells me about what's up in you know in these federations and stuff. So
Hmm.
yeah, what do you do for a living if you don't mind me asking?
Of course. I am a GIS analyst. And what GIS stands for is Geographic Information Systems. So
Okay.
what it does is uses location-based data for data intelligence. And so it's a form of data analytics, but it uses location data and geographic data in order to do that. So there's a specific program, computer software program that everybody within GIS learns how to use. And so I went to school to receive a master's certification in GIS and geoinformatics in order to learn how to use that program and use geographic data to produce maps and produce analytic trends. And you're able to draw conclusions based on the data, and it's to help improve business, at least um, in my realm and in my role. I work in a private manufacturing company and under the digital marketing department. So I help with the marketing specialists to identify areas around the country where, the product is very popular, where they need to be expanding business. So
Okay.
I've been in that role for about 2 years now. Just when I moved to Georgia is when I got this job in Atlanta, and I really love it. And um, I'm quite blessed in the fact that I feel very fulfilled by my job just as much as I do my hobbies, because I'm able to wake up and go to a job that I really enjoy, and I love the creative element of GIS along with the data and the analytics element, because I am very analytically minded, but I also love expressing my creativity in that outlet. Um, and so I'm able to do that in my job. And then, at the end of the day, I'm able to go to the gym and work out. And I have a body that is, able to do that for me. And so I feel very blessed um, that I'm just, my cup is full in every regard. And life is really good.
What got you started? I mean, what motivated you to do that? Like, did you like geography when you was in school?
What's interesting is that, so when I met my husband, his sister-in-law is a GIS professional. And so when I met her through my husband and his family, I really became intrigued by GIS because I'd never heard of it before. So after some investigation, I realized that my school, Colorado School of Mines, my alma mater, was offering a GIS master certification for the first time. And I was the inaugural class for that degree. And so after learning about what my sister-in-law does for GIS, it really piqued my interest. And I thought, well, this does really tap into the analytics element. And that's where my background is in chemistry and data analytics and just STEM in general. But I also really have a love for creativity in terms of graphic design, web design, things of that nature. And so I really felt like it was the best of both worlds to pursue GIS. And I haven't looked back since, and it was the best decision I made for my career.
Cool, cool.
Yeah.
Always George Street. There are so many different bodybuilding federations. Each has its own policies and levels. Yeah, yeah, I'm trying to understand that, so yeah, because it's different, like
A lot to learn.
IFBB, I know, some people they take, substances and
Right.
natural body building, but like for you, like how's your workout routine like during the week?
So I'm lucky that I only live a couple minutes away from my home gym. Uh, well, the gym down the street. That was a bit confusing, but I live a couple minutes away from the gym that I go to every day. So I'm able to get off of work and I work from home as well. So I'm very lucky in terms of not having a commute to set me back some time in my day. So mainly I get off of work and I go walk my dog around the block and I have my pre-workout meal and then I go to the gym in the evenings. And currently, my split is a mix of upper body and lower body. So, based on the judges' feedback, they said that I need to be growing my quads and my hamstrings. So, that's our main focus at the moment is a lot of quads, a lot of adductor movements, but also, continuing to grow my physique in general. So I have a push day where I work on my shoulders, a pull day where I work on my back, and then I also really want to build up my arms, my biceps, and my triceps. And so we have that sprinkled in there as well. And currently I have a 4 day a week split, but that is mainly because we're trying to reduce training volume a bit coming off of prep, just to give my body a bit of a break. But I would say the majority of the time I do work out 5 times a week. So, whether it be 2 upper body days or 3 lower body days, I've really kind of experienced all different types of workout splits. Um, just trying to see what works best for me and to see what helps me grow the most. So at times I've done, you know, 3 upper body days and only 2 lower body days, or we've split that 5th day into upper and lower body. So it really just depends. But that is definitely the highlight of my day is going to the gym and working out. And I look forward to it every day.
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm gonna check out your Instagram page. Yeah, yeah, that's cool. Like, do you do like push-ups and like pull-ups and all that type of stuff, calisthenics?
Sometimes I do, yes. At
What
at the end of my workouts, I will. hmm
what's your favorite workout?
I would say my my favorite muscle to work is definitely shoulders, but back is a close second. I'm definitely an uh,
Uh,
upper body girl.
uh, yeah, okay.
There it
So
is.
yeah, so check it out. Yeah, okay. What's this? Oh, the first half of peak week is almost over. Trying to soak up every moment and live in the present. Okay. Like, was it tormenting at that time?
It just felt like time was moving so fast. One day you wake up and it's the Monday of peak week and you're like, "Oh my goodness, how did we get here?" Time has really flown by. So, and everything that I've seen online, especially from more seasoned competitors, is to really just soak in the moments. Even if it feels difficult, you're going to look back on those moments with a lot of joy and so that's what I was trying to preach to everybody.
Okay. So you do deadlifts?
I
Oh,
love deadlifts, yes. I haven't done deadlifting in quite a while just because my strength has been quite decreased from being in prep, but I can't wait
okay.
to start deadlifting again. That was my personal best
Yeah.
right there on that
I,
video.
did- I had a question for you. It was coming, but I kept kind of stumbling a little bit. Like when you was doing the relay race, like would you work out a lot? as much as you do now? Or
No, I would say they did have us in the weight room about 2 times a week, but
yeah,
at that point in time, um, I really didn't know proper form for lifting, first of all. Um, and it really just felt like something I had to do because I was on the team, and so that was a requirement, to participate was to go to practice and go to the weight room sessions. Um,
right.
so I would say, um, really 1 to 2 times a week at the most was how long I was spending in the weight room. But um, after my track career was over, I was still an athlete at heart, so I needed a different outlet to continue to exercise. And I wanted to take a break from running because
Right.
I had been running for 8 years straight, all through high school and all through college. And so I transitioned to strictly going to the gym. And that was something that my husband and I really loved to do together. So um, it just felt very natural to transition to that.
Do your husband think about bodybuilding or anything like that?
Mm, I would say he's still more of a gym goer. I don't know if he'll ever get into bodybuilding, but he certainly appreciates it now that he's seen me go through it.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean,
It
like
is
just
very
even trying to
difficult.
understand. Yeah, like you know, it's not a it's not like a mainstream sport where you can look at basketball or football, and I don't
Right.
even look at that too much. I was yeah. I mean, like the past weeks, it was about the Olympics. Did you
Right.
see some of the Olympics?
I did. Yes, I love watching the track and field events.
Right, right. Yeah,
Yes. And
I seen. Now go
my
ahead.
husband and I are huge sports fans, so particularly within Atlanta sports.
Mm,
So we very much a big part of our life revolves around sports.
that's cool. That's cool.
Yes, we love
What
going to
game?
the football games. We
Okay,
love being spectators and going to the events too. And it's sort of like a fun date night for us, but it's also something that we're both really interested in.
like you like looking at the Atlanta Falcons? How they doing?
Yes, we're very excited for their first game of the season. And my
Okay,
husband is a very, very big Falcons fan. So throughout our time here in Atlanta, we've gone to a lot of football games. But we've enjoyed every one of them.
that's cool. Like in terms of bodybuilding, like how far do you see yourself competing?
Hmm. Probably until I'm ready to have a family and have children. So
You,
maybe through my 20s.
you
I'm
still in your 20s, 26.
Yes, I'm
Okay,
26. Yes. So um, I foresee it being something that I certainly want to pursue in the short term. Um, but hey, who knows what life will throw me. So uh, what I really admired was the amount of um, masters competitors at all of these OCB shows. And it really is just a
yeah,
testament to their hard work too, because some of them are grandparents, some of them, have gone through, you know, really difficult medical diagnoses, and they're still out there on stage competing. And so um, that's really inspiring to see too. So, that got me thinking, hey, maybe I could pick up bodybuilding again when I'm in my 40s or 50s too, after I'm done having a family. So who knows? There's um there's opportunities, throughout my whole life to still be a bodybuilder.
right. Do you have like friends that are inspired by you?
I do, and it's really funny because I was in the gym um just gathering my things in the locker room, And a girl approached me and she said, "Hey, you look incredible, and I've noticed you in the gym, and your physique is amazing. And I just wanted to tell you that you look great." And so her and I started striking up a conversation, and it turns out that she also runs track in college currently, and she's also told me that she was thinking about doing bodybuilding. And she said, seeing you, it really, reignites that spark in me to want to do bodybuilding. And I was just so humbled to hear that I would have an impact on somebody. So, and another girl from my college reached out to me, wanting some fitness advice. And so it's been really fun to see all the different people that are inspired, because I just do this because I love it. And I wanted to share my experience online so that other people can be knowledgeable about the sport of bodybuilding. But um, little did I know the impact that it would have on the people around me. And that's the most amazing part.
Yeah, yeah. All the way George Page. Hold on. Masters is really growing in bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at the Masters a little bit. So yeah. Yeah, so I really appreciate you giving me your time and telling me your story. Do you
Of
have
course.
anything like to shout out to anybody, or like a
Yes.
last thought?
Of course. So, first of all, thank you for having me on your platform and for reaching out to me so that I can share my story with everybody. And this has been super fun to be able to talk about bodybuilding and my passion. So, first of all, just wanted to give my appreciation to you for that. And second of all, I do have quite a few shout outs that I'd like to give. First of all, I want to shout out my amazing family, my husband Brandon, for supporting me even through all of my irritability and low energy through my prep, and celebrating with me when I won my pro card, and my mom and my brother for being there at my shows, and all the encouragement that they've given me throughout my entire life, and just, encouraging me to continue to play sports, encouraging me in bodybuilding, and following that dream. So thank you to them. And shout out to my first coach, Elise Fulop, um, from Breckenridge, Colorado. She's the one that really ignited the spark in me to start bodybuilding in the first place. And um, I've told her multiple times, but her words of encouragement have, stuck with me till to this day. And I can't thank her enough for all of the work that she put in as my coach during that 6 month period. And that's where the story started. And of course, I want to shout out my current coach, Casey, um, Casey IFBB Pro on Instagram. And her coaching business is called Complete Coaching Community. You can find them on Instagram as well. And I've just had such an incredible, unforgettable experience working with Casey at Complete Coaching. And the girls within the community are just so supportive of each other. And that's what um, really tickles me, is that uh, when everybody saw me post about my win, they were all texting me saying, "Oh my goodness, congratulations. We can't believe that you finally won." And I am Casey's very first OCB Figure Pro. So she's coached other OCB pros before within the bikini division, but I'm honored to say that I am her first figure pro. So I'm glad that I can make her proud uh, with that first win, and I can't wait to continue working with her to eventually step on that pro stage. And she's just been such an amazing coach, and all of her guidance, you know, is indescribable. The amount of time that she's poured into me as her athlete. I can't thank her enough.
Yeah, I did have one more thought, a question, because because I just blacked out. But how were you like walking in the hills, like and you're posing and stuff like that? It just it just left it just came back.
It certainly got some getting used to, and because I am so tall, I don't wear heels in my everyday life because I already tower over everybody else as it is.
Right.
So I got the shortest heels possible that they allow competitors to wear. So that was certainly helpful and gave me a little bit of an advantage to not have to walk in the 6'5", 6" heels that most other girls have to walk in. Um, but I did several posing sessions with Casey to learn how to walk in the heels and be graceful and really nail the walk because that was a fear of mine was tripping or stumbling over myself because I've never really had any experience walking in heels. But luckily that did not happen, and knock on wood, that won't happen to me in the future either. But a lot of posing practice went into making it look effortless.
Yeah. I'm not a woman, so but I can imagine just walking in them hills.
Yeah,
I know it's like balance and stuff. I think so. I think
because
there's
I'm a
a
tomboy.
competitor.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a competitor that she do like she walks on the treadmill with heels.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
so
hilarious to get
yeah.
practice. Mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean, I guess hopefully
Whatever
she doesn't
works.
trip. Yeah,
Exactly. If it works
yeah.
for her, that's perfect.
All the way, George Page leave this message. Hope to see you in the NPC in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
That would be
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to talk with you. Really appreciated your story.
Thank you so much for having me. Maybe we can collaborate again in the future.
I'm looking forward to it. So I'm sorry. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you.